Ooh, what's up, everybody? Wolfman Rob back at you with a brand new review. And this week we're talking about the return of an iconic slasher from the 80s. It's finally back after 16 years. That's right, man. Jason Voorhees has returned in the short film Sweet Revenge. There's a little look at it right there for you. Sweet Revenge. This is from Jason Universe, sponsored by Angry Orchard, which I believe is like an alcohol thing. I don't really drink all that much, so I couldn't tell you, but I'm pretty sure that is what it is. But this is the return, finally, again, after 16 years of Jason Voorhees in a film, right? So since that time, since that last movie that came out in 2009, we've had fan films all over YouTube. We've had toys that have been out there for people to buy. There's been a video game that people had a lot of time, a lot of good fun time with, and all that stuff. That kind of held them over, waiting for something to happen with the Jason. Finally, after all these years, the copyright thing has gotten taken care of, and we're getting more and more Jason stuff. Jason Universe was announced, where they have promised all kinds of things. So, like, not too long after they announced that, they put the character in like some Warner Brothers action battle video game. I don't know, I haven't played it, but I did see the photos and all that stuff of Jason being in that. And then they announced the Crystal Lake show that's going to be over there on Peacock and all that. And then we started getting concept art of what the new Jason for this Jason universe will be, met with mixed reviews and all that stuff. But we started getting that, and then they showed the mask off at Comic-Con, which again got a lot of mixed reviews. But they did that, and then they showed the teaser for this thing, and again they announced that it was part of Angry Orchard. Hey everybody, Wolfman Rob back at you. Past Wolfman Rob forgot to mention that there is a Halloween Horror Nights house for Jason Universe this year in Hollywood and Orlando as well. So that was something else they revealed, man. So had to throw that in here real quick. I'm getting back out of here. Enjoy past Wolfman Rob's review of Sweet Revenge. So people are like, oh, it's a glorified freaking commercial for Angry Orchard. What are we doing here with Jason? Or Jason's just gonna become an ad boy or whatever. But nonetheless, they showed that teaser, and to me, when I saw that teaser, I'm like, this is awesome. We got some glimpses of Jason in it, doing some action and all that. We're like, this is cool. Let's check this out, man. So finally, it has arrived on Jason Universe's YouTube channel, Sweet Revenge, the short film for Jason Voorhees. About 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 27 seconds, 15:28, somewhere around there. So good amount of time spending there. I watched it as soon as it debuted and all that stuff. And then I watched it again later that night to get like a good vibe of it and all that stuff. And it feels familiar, right? Like, so it starts off basically, and this can be as spoiler free as possible. I try to keep spoilers away when I review things, but it starts off basically, again, very familiar. Kids traveling to a camp and all that stuff. They're getting set up to do their shenanigans that they do at the camp and all that stuff. And you run into this mystery character and all that stuff, who of course is the person who has the cabin that they're renting out to it. So yada 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 and all that. This is, again, feels very familiar to the Friday the 13th franchise if you've been watching and all that stuff, which if you're a fan you have. But it feels familiar in that way, and we spent some time there with these characters, and of course the stuff, the romancy stuff and character stuff and all that, getting to know the characters a little bit. And, we start traveling around a little bit, and we see, of course, the boat on water and all that stuff. And the classic, it's in the trailer, so I don't feel like this is a spoiler, but the classic, jump up, grab thing that Jason does and all that stuff. And we go from there, right? And it's paced, to me, it's paced very well, especially for 15 minutes. Like, they put together everything very good, feels familiar. When Jason shows up and all that stuff, we get some, we get the gore that you would expect from it. We got some damage going on. The music is killing it. Like, the music is so good, feels, again, very familiar to what you hear in a Jason movie that you have watched in the past. Feels very familiar to that aspect as well. And Jason's owning fools in this thing, man. Like, Jason's got those kills, man. That's one of those things people talk about with that Friday the 13th franchise, is the kills that Jason does in it. He does some gnarly work in this Sweet Revenge here. So it does feel familiar. Is it exactly like a Friday the 13th film you watched in the past? No, obviously not. Like, this is YouTube, so you're not going to get like the massive sex scenes or nudity and all that stuff on there. But it has the vibe that you would expect from a Friday the 13th deal. The violence is there that you would expect from it. Cool kill in there as well. And, those aspects are all there for you if you've been waiting for it. And to me, like I didn't never really had a problem with that mask. When I saw it, I'm like, okay, it looks like a freaking hockey mask. Like all they did was just change the circles, right? Instead of having circle eyes, it's more rectangle-ish, square, rectangle, whichever way you want to go with it. But it never hit me in a bad way or anything like that when I saw it. And then you watch this, it looks good the whole time. Again, it looks like freaking Jason owning people. Now, when it goes to the Angry Orchard aspect of it, it's not as in your face. It's not like Wayne's World. If you've seen Wayne's World, you understand what I'm saying, where they do the whole ad gimmick joke thing, or even, even more recent Jurassic World Rebirth, where Snickers wrapper, let's put this in your face, and this has got something to do with the story. And then they're over here in this freaking apparently abandoned island and all that stuff, but all these new snacks back here. And look at those Doritos right there. And look at the Lay's and all that. It's not that. Like, it's not that bad. You can see a bottle. Like, at one point, you see a case in the car as they're unpacking. Like, you mostly see apples more than the actual bottles themselves, which is, I guess, something that, again, I don't know much about Angry Orchard, but I guess that's something to do with them. I guess apple cider, I guess what I would assume off the top of my head, I guess it's like an apple cider or whatever. But you see more apples than actual bottles in here, which is kind of funny. But and they play into like later stuff and all that cool stuff. But it doesn't feel like a commercial ever for me at any point. It just feels like, again, a regular movie where teens are going to have like a beer in their hand or whatever, like especially with these Friday the 13th films and all that stuff. So for me, I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it both times watching it. I have my questions about it, especially with that ending. The ending is left on a bit of a cliffhanger, which makes you wonder, are they doing more? Like, is this supposed to continue? Is whatever's coming next supposed to be a continuation of this? Or are they going to do another short film later around Halloween or something like that? I don't know. It leaves you on a cliffhangery aspect and all that stuff. So there's questions about it. But as far as I'm concerned, I enjoyed it. Felt, again, said it multiple times, saying it again, felt very familiar. Awesome kills in there. Jason looks good. Jason, I will say this about Jason. I think the mask looks good. The clothes and all that stuff looks good. He seems a little bit smaller than I would expect him to be, but at the same time, that's okay. Like, you go back to the original Michael Myers in the first Halloween film. Like, Michael's never been really big and imposing except for the Rob Zombie films, which is fine. But like, he's always kind of been smaller and all that stuff. Jason just seems smaller here. I don't know why. It just seems smaller to me. I haven't watched a Friday the 13th film in probably a couple months, but he just seems smaller for some reason. But still menacing, great kills, good gore in here. Feels very familiar, especially with the music. When that music was kicking, I'm like, yeah, let's go. Let's go. This is Friday the 13th, man. So I had a good time with it. It's going to be, again, met with mixed reviews, especially people complaining about the mask, which I don't understand, but do you, right? That's your opinion. They're all subjective, whether they're films in theaters or short films on YouTube, they're all subjective. But overall, felt good, felt entertaining, had a good time with it. Enjoyable short film, man. So that is my thoughts on Sweet Revenge. Appreciate you hanging out with me. If you do me a favor, hit that like, subscribe, and share to help we grow over here. But appreciate you hanging out with me, and more reviews to come later.